Oh my goodness. Does your kiddo have resting Grinch face? So anytime you ask them to go to the store or you try to get them up, they just say, "No, I'm not doing it. That's not what I wanted." And especially with the holidays, it's just getting more and more difficult with the change in schedules, with all the excitement coming up. It just feels like you can't get ahead of these, outbursts and tantrums and meltdowns over the thought of no and not getting their way. If that is you, you are definitely, definitely not alone. So, we're going to be talking this entire week. We're going to be talking about how to have less chaos during the holidays. This is the first in our series. I'm going to be taking notes as we talk, and I'm going to be talking about how to parent strong-willed kids during the holidays. So this is, I'm talking about the kids who are just really struggling emotionally. They might be seen as defiant. You might feel like you're having to tiptoe around anything they do, and you're having to walk on eggshells because you're worried that your kids might just throw a huge fit. And I see Rhonda saying, "Thank you so much for doing these with the upcoming breaks." Yes, I totally hear you. So, what we're going to be talking about, and you can just let me know in the comments the struggles. We're going to be talking all week about different struggles that come up with parenting challenging kids. Now, this one's titled Parenting a Strong Willed Child. And here at Calm the Chaos, we believe that all behavior is communication. So we believe that the very thing that makes your child challenging, difficult, hard to handle is also the very thing that is their superpower. So we like to call these kids fierce kids. So if you've got a fierce kid, just say that's me in the comments. We're going to be talking about how to handle all of the different things going on. Let me know what that looks like for you. If you're struggling already as the holidays come near, keeping everything together and helping your kids. So, on today's call, what we're going to be talking about is three main things. One is we're going to be talking about what's behind the yelling and the refusal and the stomping and maybe even the swearing behind wearing the sweater for the holiday picture or behind eating grandma's turkey recipe. Tori says lots of meat. Yeah. We're also going to be talking about how to make plans that our kids actually want to follow through with during the holidays and how to get them on board so that you can actually create fun memories and without everything having to fall on your shoulders. And we're also going to be talking about um how to deal with like that self-regulation, right? When tensions get high, when your kid's starting to stomp or yell no or scream or refuse, drop themselves on the floor, then we're going to be talking about a couple of self-regulation strategies that you can use. Now, I'm going to be doodling and taking my notes as we go. So, as always, if you would like those, just put calm in the comments and we will send over our notes for today's call. I see Linda tagging her friends. That's awesome. Alan and David need to hear this. So, how about let's go ahead and let's get ahead of some of these big, big challenges. Let me know while I get my doodle set up. What is the biggest challenge that you see coming with your strong willed kiddo as we enter the holidays? So, as I get this just set up here, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. See so many of you guys tagging friends and you're here. I love it. So cool. All right. Awesome. Rhonda's like, calm. I need all the calm you can give me. Thank you so much. I love it. I totally hear you. I totally hear you. All right. So here's what we're going to do first. So let's talk about the first big tip. So, my first tip for parenting strong willed kids during the holidays is that I want you to actually just acknowledge that there is a disruption and the feelings that go around along with that disruption. So we all know that routines change. We all know that things are different. The schedule changes. We know that there's new sights, there's new sounds, there's new foods to taste. All these things change. And when these things change and we get out of routine, then it can cause a lot of feelings of being out of control, sensory overwhelm, sensory sensitivities. It can be really frustrating. And so, a lot of times, we're going to see more of this so called defiant behavior. Our kids screaming no, yelling back, right? And so, one of the number one tips that I have for you is to acknowledge this change in routine. So I'm trying to get my doodles to work. All right, let me see here. All my pens aren't working. So we want to acknowledge that disruption in the routine. So let me just put that down. So we do that by actually bringing this to our kids' attention and saying, hey, I notice that the schedule's changed. I notice that things are a little different, and that's been really hard for you. And so, some of the things that you can do is you can keep as much normal as possible. So, keep like we like to call these the safe items. And so, what can you put in your calendar, in your routine that is the same? So, can you keep bedtime the same? Can you keep their afternoon snack the same? Can you, if they're young, can you keep snacks the same? Can you keep breakfast the same? What can you do? What routines, what systems can you keep the same, whether they're in school, out of school, at grandma's, on a family trip, whatever it is? How can you keep their routine as similar as possible? And we want to involve them and say, what are some parts of your day that just help you stay calm? So what are the parts of the day that you love? What are the parts of the day that feel great? It might be that they get to watch a certain TV show at a certain time of day. It might be that they read a certain book at night before they go to bed. Whatever that is, we want to create this safety by having safe routines. We want to also, when you're going to dinner with family, you want to also make sure that you're keeping safe foods. So I'm already having talks with my daughter, and I'm saying, all right, we've got Thanksgiving coming and I'm supposed to bring a salad. You typically love salads. Can you tell me what you'd like me to include in the salad so you have food you like? And she goes, well, I really want some Hawaiian buns. I was like, well, I think there's going to be buns at Thanksgiving. And she goes, yeah, but I know I like these buns. And I'll try the other buns, but if I don't like them, at least I can have this as a backup. So what you're doing is you're creating this awareness, one, so they're aware of what they like, what they dislike, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And you're listening to them and creating solutions with your child about safe routines, safe foods, safe clothes, right? So thinking about the ability to have clothes that feel comfortable, because when things change, then it can feel uncomfortable. Things can feel more itchy. They can feel more overwhelming. Kids can avoid showers and can avoid brushing their teeth and things that maybe they've done in the past. But now, because there's so much change in other places, this is the place where they're kind of letting it out. So, like I said, we believe that all behavior is communication and that this isn't just being defiant or rude or disrespectful. And so, having those safe clothes, those safe routines, those things that you know that they love and that they really depend on. And part of this is also just really getting clear and really staying grounded in this thought swap of my kid is not giving me a hard time. This is how we remove those power struggles, is that we have to remember our kid's not giving us a hard time. They are having a hard time. So what is happening is that they are struggling. They have sensory overwhelm. They have anxieties. They're feeling stressed out. They're feeling unsafe, either emotionally, physically, mentally, emotionally. It doesn't have to mean that you're in an unsafe environment, but their nervous system does not feel safe. And so that's where all these behaviors are coming from. And it's not defiance, it's not rudeness, it's not them being bratty or disrespectful. So making that mindset shift here of my kid is just struggling, my kid needs me. All right. So I'd love to know, I thrive on feedback. So we've talked about the first part of what to do about changes in routine. I'd love to know, like, what was your biggest takeaway? Like, what's really landing for you that you're going to use moving forward? And I see so many of you guys saying, I love this idea of figuring out safe foods, figuring out safe routines ahead of time. And Amanda saying Thanksgiving food is always so hard with her son because he hates casseroles and soft mushy stuff. And Tori saying that we get really clear on the clothes that we're going to wear, all of those sorts of things. So fantastic takeaways, guys. All right, so and then the last thing that you can do here is you can start to practice your routines out of the moment. So if you know that routines are going to change, you can start actually introducing those new routines, new foods, new clothes. My daughter actually asked if we could go shopping and find different types of croissants so that we could bring croissants to Thanksgiving and she could try them ahead of time and pick the one she really likes. So you can practice ahead. Now, again, if you would like these notes, you can just type calm in the comments and we'll be sure to send over these notes to you. All right. So moving on to the second big tip for parenting your strong-willed kid. So number one is expect the change in routine and create safe routines and foods and clothes ahead of time. Practice that flexibility and change ahead of time so that your kids know what to expect. All right. Number two, this one is so big, especially if you've got a kid who's super fierce, who's set in their ways, who knows exactly what they want. And then if it doesn't go as planned, they're screaming no, you're getting stuck into power struggles. The second thing that I would suggest, especially with, like I said, these like super set in their way, is you want to involve your kids, right? You want to involve them. We talked about that a little bit in the last one. But what I mean here is go beyond just offering, do you want the red cup or the blue cup? Do you want this shirt or that shirt, right? You can definitely still offer these choices and these options, but talk about those upcoming plans that are happening and start asking questions like, what would you like? And do brainstorming. How would you like to solve this problem? That's another one. What are they looking forward to? What are your favorite foods? Who are you excited to see? What are some games that you'd like to play? You can even come up with an idea of what to pack to take other places or what to do during your break so that it's not just you doling out all these different things to your kids. Another thing could be, thinking about last time, what's worked in the past? How did we solve that before? So what you're really doing is you're involving your kids, you're helping them become more self-aware, you're helping them come up with solutions, you're helping them problem solve, which is going to build their resiliency. So you're involving them in any of the new plans that are happening instead of running over to Pinterest, finding a list of 100 things to do to help your kids be successful during the holidays. And instead you're saying, hey, I know that last time we went to grandma's, you really struggled when everyone asked you for hugs. And so I'd like to come up with a plan that we both agree, feel comfortable with, and get comfortable with the fact that their plan might be that I'm going to tell grandpa, like, I don't feel like hugging right now. No, thank you. Or can I just like give you a fist bump, right? Coming up with another way to show affection other than having to hug people or having to be in someone else's space or having to eat something that doesn't feel good to them just out of quote unquote respect, right? There are other ways to show people that we love and care for them than giving up on our own needs and wants and desires. So, um, I love it so much. Tori says my kids get to eat what they want. So Amanda says I need to stay calm and not let my parents' opinions on my parenting get to me. Oh my gosh, we are going to be talking about that in one of our future ones. We're going to be talking about your own parenting reactions, and other people's thoughts and ideas are such a big one, Amanda. So we're going to do some Q&A at the end. So stick around, Amanda, and I'll answer this one specifically. Okay. So if at any time as I'm going through this, you think of a yeah, but, or how does this work with my kid? Go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm going to try to reserve some time at the end of these lives to just answer your specific questions. All right. So far we've talked about two tips for parenting strong-willed or fierce kids during the holidays. Number one is expect the change in routine. So don't be surprised by it. We all know there's going to be changes in routine. So instead prepare for it and get ahead of it by thinking of what are some safe routines, safe foods, safe clothes for your kids, and plan and prepare ahead of time, practice ahead of time. Number two is involve your kids in these plans. Don't just dole out visuals, schedules. Don't just dole out calm down charts or fidgets. Instead, create plans with your kids so that they can feel successful. They can feel like they are part of the solution and they are the ones kind of leading the charge in what works for them. Now, number three, this is a big one. Just curious, raise your hand if your kids have an increase of tantrums, meltdowns, and big outburst during the holidays, especially your strong-willed kids who have like a very set idea of the way that they like things. If that is you, that's what I want to talk about last, is just some simple ways to get ahead of these tantrums and meltdowns and some self-regulation strategies that you can use. So there are a couple of things that you can do to prepare for the meltdowns. I see some big old yups, right? Okay, so we know there might be some outbursts, so we're going to prepare. We're not going to be surprised by them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and prepare that this might happen. We're not going to be like, oh my gosh, this happened, I'm so surprised. No. So whether, whatever it is that ends up happening, we can go ahead and start having this idea that we know it's going to happen. So we can already start teaching our kids now, before they're over at grandma's, about some self-regulation strategies that they can use. And now here's the thing, is that they have to be in a place to be able to accept these. That's a whole nother live for another day. But this will at least give you some things that you can do if you're struggling. So number one is the very most basic self-regulation strategy is to breathe. And we call this the 3 B's. Okay. So the first one is to breathe. Now, breathing, what happens when we get stressed out, when we go into fight, flight, or freeze, is that our brain shuts down and we actually stop. We hold our breath. We're like, and when we hold our breath, it tells our brain, oh my gosh, something's wrong, save her. And we end up going into fighting. We end up shutting down, whatever that is. And so if you can practice that, stop, take a deep breath, breathing. If you can practice that ahead of time, it will help so much in the moment, both for you and for your child. Now, a breath that I've been using with my daughter lately is hand to heart. So, and she'll now call me and say, Mom, I need hand to heart. And so I'll go over to her and I'll put my hand on her heart and I just sit right next to her and I go, and while I do that, she does it, right? So hand to heart, right? Skin to skin contact. It's regulating for both you and her or you and them. So breathing is number one. Number two is a break. Okay. So number two is that we're actually going to take a break. Now, this is great because if there's a lot of sensory things going on in the room, if it's loud, if there's a lot of smells, this is how to remove yourself or to remove your kids in a way where they don't have to scream, get me out of here, or no, or I hate this, or you're stupid, or hide under the dinner table, right? Instead, you can practice ahead of time a code word or a gesture or even a card that they pull out of their, backpack or out of their pocket, or, some sort of gesture that they give you, like they put their hand on you in a certain way that says, hey, mom, hey, dad, I am done. I need a break. I need to just get away from all of this. What we even do when we get to new places, like especially if we're going to a new family member's house, is we scope out the whole house before we ever get to playing with our friends or playing with our cousins. We scope out the whole house and we look for a place that we can go to break. We find those quiet places that are away from everyone, away from the glares and the stares, away from the judgment of other people, and we find that perfect place to take a break when things are too overwhelming. And so first is to breathe, second is to break so that you can get away from all the overwhelm and overstimulation. And the last one is something that I think a lot of people don't talk about or they try to jump to, but this one is an interesting one. It's called balance. Now, balance is about balancing sensory overwhelm or sensory needs. So, if you're at grandma's house and everybody's having to sit quietly around the kitchen table, maybe we need to stand up and we need to stand on one foot, or we need to hold on to a fidget with our hands when we're nervous or overwhelmed. Maybe we need to balance our sensory overwhelm with headphones and listen to an audiobook, or we need noise reduction earmuffs while we're at the store grocery shopping. Whatever it is, we want to balance the needs that our children have. And again, we're including our kids in this. We can't just throw all this at them and expect it to work, right? So this is really where you're coming up with this ahead of time. Like, what are you worried about? What do you think might happen? And you want to really listen to your kids' concerns. They may say something like, I don't like any of these foods. I'm really frustrated because, grandma keeps asking me to try her cranberry sauce and I don't really like it, right? And this is where you can validate how they're feeling. You can help them breathe, give them a break, balance those needs, and come up with a plan for next time. Okay. So, just to recap, and again, if you want these notes, you can just put calm in the comments and I'll send that right over to you guys when I'm done. I'll take a picture. So, for parenting strong willed kids, this works all year round, but especially during the holidays. You want to make sure that you are aware of changes in routine and you're making plans for those with your kids. Be sure to look for safe foods, safe routine, safe clothes that help your child feel that calmness and that routine that they're so used to. Number two is involve your kids. Don't do a top-down approach, but instead involve them in, problem solving and creating solutions and creating the plans for what they want to do and what they want to how they want to connect and how they want to play during this challenging time during the holidays. And then finally, prepare for the outburst. Don't expect it to just go swimmingly because you've done these two things. This will still happen. And so go ahead and prepare. Go ahead and teach the skills ahead of time. And then in the moment, just take a pause to take a deep breath or to take a break. Once everything's calm, now you can go back to involving them, problem solving them, getting that balance that they so desperately need. Now, I'd love to hear which of these tips have been the most helpful, that are that's the thing that you're going to take with you and remember for the next couple of weeks as we go through the holiday seasons with our strong-willed kids in mind. Go ahead and let me know, what is the number one strategy that you're going to use. Now, the biggest thing that I want you to remember is that so often defiance and strong-willed and all of that is equated to being disrespectful or rude or bratty. And I want you to take this swap and realize that your child is struggling to communicate their needs. They're struggling to get their needs met. They're struggling to articulate the plan that they already had in their head. And they need you to help them with that and to show them that you hear them, that you're there for them, that you're on their team. And so just remembering that your child's, you know, desire for a plan, their desire for rigidity, their desire to have things their way is also a superpower. I'm seeing some great ones. Yes. So involving our kids in the plan, practicing ahead of time, hand to heart resonates with an angsty teen. Oh, love that, Shelly. I'm so glad that this is helpful. Lily saying it's not about me. He's struggling and needs my help. Fantastic. I love that so much. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be doing another one of these live sessions. I'm going to be doing it for the next 7 days because I just know how hard the last 2 years have been for parents, but especially if you're parenting what we call an out-of-the-box kid, a kid who is not like all the other kids, that is harder to connect with, that is harder to calm down, harder to to understand, and they're a challenge. And I believe that a challenging kid is a good thing. They challenge us to be better, do better, and to think differently. And so it's a great thing to have a challenging kid. Don't be ashamed of that. And so if what we're going to be doing over the next 7 days is we are going to be I'm going to be going live every day for the next 7 days. So make sure that you are liking this page to get the content and following along. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking all about school. Now, I know holidays and school don't really go together because kids will be taking breaks, but I also know that those breaks, right? Break for Thanksgiving and a break for Christmas and for New Year's and all the things that are coming up, and these changes in routine, it just makes the school struggles that might already be underlying and already there that much worse. So you might see an uptick in school refusal. You might see more battles over homework. You might see more struggles to advocate for your kid at school. So we're going to be talking about school tomorrow. So if anyone's interested in school, just put school in the comments. Let me know so that I know I've got some people who want me to go live tomorrow. So I do hope you're going to chat. Come tomorrow when we talk about school, being in and out and back and forth and the homework and all those things. Now, the one last thing that I want to share with you guys is every year we put together something really, really special for Black Friday. And this year is really exciting because we've put together something epic for Black Friday. And it's something that it covers bedtime, it covers school, it covers parenting a strong-willed kid, it covers parenting when you have different parenting styles and your own reactions. Everything that we're going to be covering in the 7 days to less chaos for the holidays, it covers all those topics, but goes far beyond the holidays. And so if you'd like to make sure you're on our wait list for that, all you have to do is type calm below, and we will make sure that you get the notes for this, but also you're going to get the link to our Black Friday wait list so that you can be the very first one to know all about this amazing, amazing bundle that is really, guys, it is epic. It's a steal of a deal. One of the best bundles I think we've ever put together. I'm super excited about it. So again, just type calm below. I see Jane's doing that. So what I'd love to do is leave a couple of minutes for your questions. So we've talked a lot about parenting a strong-willed child during the holidays. What is your burning question? So I'm going to go through here and see, go ahead and post it in the comments. Just write question and then type your question. And I see that there was one up here. Tori says, special education teacher here, struggles with her own children at home and not her children at school. We hear that so much. Tori, you're not alone. I was a teacher for 12 years, definitely felt that way, right? I could parent or teach the most challenging kids in the classroom, but when it came to my own kids, right, it was definitely different. Okay, so Amanda said, I need to stay calm and not let my parents' opinions of my parenting get to me. When tantrums start, the criticism starts flying, and any helpful tips to get through it and stay focused on my kid and what he needs rather than my parents. Oh my goodness, that is so good. Jason, can you grab the Thought Monster cards real fast? So this is such a great question, Amanda, and you are definitely not alone. So we have something here. We truly believe that your mindset, your perspective is the most important thing that can change. And so if you can swap this feeling of being judged, and yeah, they're saying their things and they have their feedback for you, but if you can swap that in the moment, it can help you stay grounded so that it doesn't trigger you as much. And so we use a thought monster called Judgy McJudgerson. So this is, just that idea of other people bringing on shame and embarrassment. And you're starting to think of what will they think. And if you're coming from this place, you're going to react and respond to your kid very differently. But if you can swap that for what we call want warrior, which is like just turning their voice into the Charlie Brown voices of like wah 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 wah, right? So if you could do that, then you can get through that moment. Now, the other thing that I love to say is their opinions are not about me or even my kid. It's about them and their own beliefs. It's about them and their own parenting. It's about them and their own fears. It's not about me. I know my child best. And so if you can go back to those tips we shared earlier of preparing for a break, right? Breathing in the moment. If you can go back to that, Amanda, and take a break away from your parents and go ahead and prep. Thank you. I've got this. Right. And just here, anything that comes in is want, 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 want. And it's not disrespect. It's just that their opinions in the moment are definitely not going to help. Out of the moment, if they'd like to have, some conversations about how it went, they'd like to debrief with you, totally fine once everyone's calm. But in the moment, it's definitely not going to be helpful, right? And they're coming from their own place, from their own beliefs. Amanda says, thank you. I'm so glad that that was helpful. If anyone else has a burning question, I'd love to leave some time for burning questions about how to do this. So I do see, we're going to talk about this tomorrow, Tracy, is translating into daycare. Yeah, the constant refusal to go to daycare or into the room. So we can talk about that tomorrow for sure when we talk about school/daycare, whatever that is. So, that refusal to go, definitely can talk about. Rhonda says, when refusal turns into fight or flight and the next day the sweet strong-willed child starts hitting and gets sent home from school, when does this stop? I don't want to be that child labeled by the school, him to be that child. So Rhonda, what a great question. So one, we can talk about that more tomorrow in school, but I do want to talk about if we can give our kids one, in the moment is not the time for teaching. So that's number one, Rhonda. And then we don't want to then wait until the next day before addressing whatever happened. So let's say that your child is really struggling at home, then you can address that at home and make sure that your child and give him the skills and the tools needed so that he can communicate and he can take that break at school before he hits. So there's a lot to that. That's ahead of the moment plans. We're kind of jumping ahead there. But that break, that balance, the breathing, all those are going to be super important to teach our kids those ahead of the moment. And if they're hitting one time, they're definitely not that kid. It is a natural response to hit, to yell, to scream, to fight because we're stressed out. So the more we can recognize the signs of that building up, and the more that we can stay connected with our kids and help our kids get to a safe, regulated place, the less that they're going to need the hitting and the kicking and the yelling and the screaming. Right. Deborah is saying we have all of these new things always being refused. And Deborah, I would go back to number one, and number two, is number one is have a lot of things that are not new, right? So keep enough things that are safe so that when a new thing is brought to your child, then it makes it easier for them to say yes or to experiment when the stakes aren't as high. So, trying that new thing at grandma's house is probably not the best place to try it. Instead, trying it at home and then being okay with not pushing your child at grandma's to try the new things if it's too overwhelming, too stressful, if there's too much going on, because it's not happening in a vacuum. It's not happening in isolation, right? So we need to be aware that if our child is refusing things, there's always a reason why they're refusing. I would encourage you not just to look at the like always or the nevers, but instead look at when is your child refusing? Are they refusing when they're overwhelmed? Are they refusing when it's unfamiliar? Are they refusing when they don't have the full picture? Like really getting clear on why they're refusing will help so much find room for possibility and room for progress. So Deborah, you can get the notes and also the link for the Black Friday wait list by just typing calm, and I'll send that over as soon as this is over. All right, guys, that is it for today. I will be going live again tomorrow, noon Central Standard Time. If you want to make sure you get the email, you can hop on the wait list for our Black Friday bundle. Just type calm in the comments below, and I will send over the doodles and notes, and I will also send over the link to our wait list for our Black Friday bundle. And yep, I see Deborah typing calm. Awesome. And with that, I just want to remind you one last time that your kids' defiance, their refusal, their not listening is all a sign of something else under the surface. There is a reason for that behavior. And the very like ability to be able to stand up for what they believe in, to be able to need plans and all these things that go into that, that is actually a superpower. And I know you can't see it right now, and that's okay. I don't expect you to make that jump yet, but know that you are exactly the parent your child needs, and your kid is exactly the child they were designed to be. They do not need to be fixed, they are not broken, and you are doing an amazing job. So, with that, just type calm in the comments below, and I will see you guys tomorrow.